Why you feel busy but accomplish nothing. Have you ever had one of those days where you were busy from the moment you woke up? You answered messages. You checked your emails. You watched a few videos. You worked on several tasks. You made plans. You solved problems. And by the end of the day, you were completely exhausted. But then you looked back and thought, what did I actually accomplish? It's a strange feeling. You were busy all day, but somehow you didn't move forward. And the frustrating part is that tomorrow often looks exactly the same. More tasks, more notifications, more meetings, more messages, more things to do, and once again you go to bed tired without feeling proud of what you achieved. So what's going on? Why can someone work for 10 hours and still accomplish almost nothing meaningful? The answer is simple. Being busy and making progress are not the same thing. Imagine a person running on a treadmill. They're moving. They're sweating. Their heart is beating faster. They're using energy. From the outside, it looks like they're working incredibly hard, but after 1 hour, they're still standing in exactly the same place. That's what happens when your day is filled with activity but not direction. You can answer 50 emails, attend 5 meetings, organize your computer, watch 10 educational videos, make a perfect to-do list, and still be no closer to the life you actually want. Because activity creates movement, but direction creates progress. And this is where many people get trapped. They measure their day by how much they did instead of asking whether what they did actually mattered. Think about your typical to-do list. You might have 20 things on it: reply to an email, call someone, clean your desk, check social media, research something, watch a tutorial, update a document, make another plan, and somewhere at the bottom there's the one thing that could actually change your situation: starting the business, writing the book, learning the skill, building the project, applying for the job, having the difficult conversation. But that task is usually uncomfortable. It requires concentration, it requires uncertainty, and there is no guarantee you'll succeed, so instead you do the easy things. You answer the email, you organize your files, you check your phone, you research a little more, you make another plan, and at the end of the day you feel productive. But deep down, you know you avoided the important work. This is one of the biggest productivity traps. Easy work makes you feel productive. Important work actually creates progress, and those two things are not always the same. There is another problem: too many priorities. Modern life constantly tells us that everything matters. Your career matters, your health matters, your finances matter, your relationships matter, your education matters, your side business matters, your hobbies matter. And because all of these things are important, we try to work on all of them at the same time. But your attention doesn't work that way. Imagine trying to carry 10 heavy boxes at once. You might be strong. You might be motivated, but eventually you're going to drop something. The same thing happens with your attention. When you try to focus on everything, you end up focusing deeply on nothing. And this is why having fewer priorities can actually make you more productive. You don't need another 20-item to-do list. You need to know what matters most, because if everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. Then there's distraction, and distraction has become incredibly easy. You sit down to work, your phone vibrates, you check the notification, then you see another message. You open social media for just a minute, you see an interesting video, then another. Suddenly 20 minutes have disappeared, you return to your work, but now your concentration is gone. A few minutes later, another notification appears, and the cycle starts again. The problem isn't just the time you lose, it's the attention you lose. Because deep work requires you to stay with one problem long enough for your brain to go beyond the surface. Distraction constantly pulls you back. It's like trying to fill a bucket with water while someone keeps making small holes in the bottom. You keep adding effort, but the results keep leaking away. And sometimes the most dangerous distractions don't look like distractions. They're actually productive activities: watching another educational video, reading another book, researching another strategy, downloading another productivity app, making another plan. None of these things are necessarily bad, but they can become a substitute for action. You can spend months learning how to start without actually starting. You can spend hours planning your future without taking the first step toward it, and that's when productivity becomes an illusion. You feel like you're moving because you're constantly doing something, but the destination hasn't changed. So how do you escape this trap? The first step is surprisingly simple. Stop measuring your day by how busy you were. Instead, measure your day by what actually moved forward. At the beginning of your day, ask yourself one question. What is the one thing I could accomplish today that would make the biggest difference? Not 10 things, not 20. One, maybe it's writing the first 1,000 words of your book. Maybe it's completing one important project. Maybe it's exercising for 30 minutes. Maybe it's studying a difficult skill. Maybe it's making the phone call you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, identify it. Then protect it before the emails, before social media, before the endless small tasks. Give your best attention to the thing that matters most, because your most valuable resource isn't actually time, it's focused attention. You can have 8 hours available, but if your attention is scattered across 50 different things, those 8 hours aren't really 8 hours of productive work. They are fragments, and fragments rarely create anything meaningful. There's also a second question you should ask yourself. Does this task actually need to be done? Not everything that can be done needs to be done. Sometimes the best productivity strategy isn't doing something faster. It's removing it completely. Delete the unnecessary meeting. Ignore the unimportant notification. Stop following information that doesn't help you. Say no to commitments that don't align with your priorities, because every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Your time is limited. Your attention is limited. Your energy is limited, so spend them carefully. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes being busy is not a productivity problem. It's an avoidance problem, because important work is often difficult. Starting something new is uncomfortable. Making a big decision is uncomfortable. Failing is uncomfortable. Sitting alone and thinking about what you really want can be uncomfortable. So we stay busy. We fill our days with small tasks. We keep ourselves occupied. And because we're exhausted at the end of the day, we can tell ourselves, I worked hard today. And maybe you did, but hard work without direction can take you nowhere. Imagine two people climbing a mountain. The first person climbs quickly. They're energetic. They never stop moving, but they chose the wrong mountain. The second person moves slowly, but every step takes them closer to the summit they actually want. Who is making more progress? The answer is obvious. And that's the lesson. Speed doesn't matter if you're moving in the wrong direction. You don't need to fill every minute of your day. You don't need to answer every message immediately. You don't need to start 10 projects. You don't need to constantly optimize yourself. You need clarity, you need focus, and you need the courage to spend your time on things that actually matter. Because the goal isn't to become the busiest person in the room. The goal is to become someone who consistently makes meaningful progress. So tonight, before you go to sleep, don't ask yourself, how busy was I today? Ask yourself, what did I actually move forward? And tomorrow morning, choose one meaningful thing. Do it before the distractions take over. Then do it again the next day and the next, because your life doesn't change because you had a busy day. It changes because you repeatedly put your time and attention behind the right things. Remember, being busy is not the goal. Progress is, so stop trying to win the race by running faster. First, make sure you're running in the right direction. If this video gave you something to think about, subscribe to Think Long Term, because the goal isn't just to do more. It's to build a life that actually matters.